So students, let's talk about the well-known war poem, The Soldier. Students, this poem is one of the sonnets that Rupert Brooke composed shortly after the commencement of the World War First. So let's begin with this poem, The Soldier. This poem was written during the first year of the First World War, as I have already mentioned, written just after the commencement of First World War. It was published in 1915 in the collection 1914 and Other Poems. Students, this collection 1914 and Other Poems is in the form of a sonnet sequence. There are 6 sonnets, and this poem, The Soldier, is the 5th in the series. And the first sonnet in this series is not numbered at all. It is there in the form of a preface, and other 5 are numbered, and this is the 5th one, or we can say this is the last one in the series. And although The Soldier is the most famous of these 6 poems, but Brooke's favorite was the 4th poem, that was The Dead. And these poems were first published in a periodical in new numbers in January 1915, and later they placed in this collection 1914 and Other Poems. And this poem's popularity was established 3 weeks before Brooke's death in April 1915, when Dean of St. Paul's Cathedral read it at the Easter Sunday service. Students, as far as the theme or the key concern of this poem matters, it's a deeply patriotic and idealistic poem that expresses a soldier's love for his homeland. And in this case, the homeland or the motherland is England, which is portrayed, which is presented in the poem as a kind of nurturing paradise. And in brief, we can say this poem represents the patriotic ideals that characterized pre-war England, and it portrays death for one's country as a noble end, and England as the noblest country for which to die. And the poem is divided into 2 parts. The first 8 lines, they form the octave of this sonnet, which is structurally a Miltonic sonnet. So let's see what the poet says in the first 8 lines of the poem. The persona of the poem, and in English soldier, he addresses the reader and speaks to the reader in imperative, says, think only this of me. This sense of immediacy on the part of the speaker establishes at the very beginning the speaker's attitude of romantic attitude towards death, that is to say. And here let's see what the soldier says, that if I should die, think only this of me. The soldier says that if he dies in the war, he wants to be remembered in a particular way. Think only this of me. He just wants to be remembered in a particular way. And what that way is, think of him in a way that there is some corner of a foreign field that is forever England. He wants that he should be remembered after his death for his grave being there in a foreign land. And he just wants to ask the reader that they should think that of the far off land on which the soldier dies will have a small piece of England forever. How it will happen? Because now on that very particular corner of that foreign battlefield, the grave of an English soldier is there. So that very place where the grave of that English soldier is going to be of England forever. There shall be in that rich earth a richer dust concealed. Students, the meaning of word conceal is hidden. So it is saying that in that very corner of foreign battlefield, in that very corner of foreign land where his grave will be, to that very place he calls a rich earth, because there is the grave of an English soldier. And the another image is of a richer dust. This is for the body of the English soldier. So he says that very corner of foreign land will be enriched by the grave of an English soldier, the dead body of an English soldier, because his body is born in England and England is a rich country. So with these images, the soldier is showing his love and concern for his motherland, and it expresses his pride in being an Englishman. And here he also glorifies the land of England as a rich earth, and he calls the English blood, the English body, and the body of an English soldier as a richer dust, which is lying hidden there in that very foreign corner, and that land is going to be of England forever. And now let's see what the soldier says in the next 4 lines. Here the soldier is explaining, the persona of the poem is explaining that why he is calling himself or the dead body of the soldier as a richer dust. This dust is richer, this dust is very prosperous, very grand, very sublime, because a dust whom England bore, because this dust, his body, here the dust is for the body of the soldier. So here very figurative or metaphoric use of dust is there, and dust whom England bore. So this is the body, this is the body of a soldier who is created by England, or whom England has given birth, shaped, molded his personality. The soldier wants to say that he is calling his body as a richer dust because this dust was created by England and it was molded by England. His personality was molded by England. Made aware means England gave him consciousness. England gave him a sort of awareness to think of his own land, and it gave once her flowers to love. England gave him her blooming plants, blooming flowers to fall in love with, and gave her ways to roam, and England gave him ways to move freely. It was England only who has created an atmosphere of freedom and prosperity to enrich him, to prosper his very being. So that's why he is calling his body as a richer dust, because it was nurtured by England with the flowers of England. A body of England's breathing English air. So is that my body? The soldier says that his body belongs to England. A body of England means his body belongs to England. Breathing English air, has always breathed English air. Washed by the river, and England's rivers cleansed him, washed him. Here, and the purification by water has some religious image also. Then blessed by sons of home. He says that he was throughout his life he was blessed by the son of England. Sons of England, he is the England son, that the England has given him his plant, his sunlight, his air uh, to nurture his body, to nurture the life, to mold the life of that soldier. So now in this way the soldier feels very pride in being associated with the rich land, and now he just idealizes the situation that if he will die in the battlefield, that very particular place where his grave will be and where he will die in that very in a foreign field, that place will going to be England's forever, because the person whose grave is there, whose dead body, whose ashes are lying there, is the are the ashes or the dust from a very rich land, that is of England. So in this way the poet has glorified the motherland, or a soldier's love for his motherland. That's all for the first 8 lines of this poem. In the next video we will talk about the concluding part of this sonnet. Thank you.